government is now basically orchestrating a bombing campaign within Russia. I mean, the United States is in a hot war with Russia. And this is because the president was just convicted, former President Trump, but there's a lot going on in the US. I don't think that most Americans fully understand we're in a hot war with Russia. So, I mean, they're both nuclear armed powers. What are the chances that this becomes a nuclear exchange?
Unfortunately, each conflict has its own dynamic. So for now, I don't see forces which is seriously working to de-escalation, because it's not defined yet what victory means. It's not defined with what purpose of each conflicting party really is. In reality, it's described, but today these goals are not really discussed. Yeah, it's like one party moving one direction. What, for example, Ukrainian party saying? Ukrainian party of this conflict saying, okay, we want something like go back to the situation when everything was in 2014. Okay, so they want to do de-escalation 2 steps compared with today's situation. Step not 2022, but step 2014. At the same time, what from the Russia perspective we are hearing when we are listening news or whatever, Russia saying, no, we want something bigger. We wanted to do de-escalation even further. We wanted to come back to a situation when security arrangement in Europe done in such way that Russia does not feel in danger from different sides.
Yes.
So that's to what Russian leadership referring. So why to do 1 step of de-escalation? We need to do 2-step de-escalation. So that is like 2 completely different languages. So you cannot discuss one part, one type of basically problem, and don't discuss another. So when 2 parties don't hear each other, and each of them kind of living in their own world with their own limitation, what you should predict? You should predict that more people will die, that escalation will continue, and God forgive us, but next threshold of escalation can be crossed.
Both sides are now sort of openly talking about using nuclear weapons. I never thought I would live to see that. That seems crazy.
It's extremely scary.
Are the Russians worried?
Of course they are. Of course they are. But once again, even from Russia's side, I can understand basically dynamic. But what I don't understand why West not worrying about. What today's situation remind me very much situation which was in the autumn 2021. So what we saw in the autumn 2021, we saw military maneuvers near Ukrainian border.
Yes.
We saw the proposal to come back and to discuss different type of the arrangement, which can make situation a little bit more secure, not little bit more, but more secure, more predictable. When security, it's basically working in the both side, not only against Russia, but also such arrangement where Russia feels secure. That was a major discussion somewhere in the autumn 2021. So Russia came with a certain proposal. It was a lot of discussion. What was the result? The result was actually noise. Result was, okay, it will not happen. Result was, okay, just try to do it and we do something more terrible to you. That was kind of the discussion at this moment of time. What Russia did at this time, move situation to the next level of escalation on the basically situation which we, in the beginning of the special military operation. That's what Russia did. So that happened once. So compare with the situation today. Military maneuvers, yeah, with a tactical nuclear weapon at this time. A lot of basically comments like, oh, don't take it seriously. Mr. Putin did not use bomb for 2 years. For sure, he will never use it anymore in the future. Yeah, all of this kind of the discussion. We need to ignore it because if basically Russia will do it, we'll do it something even more terrible. What it reminds you? For me, it's remind to 21 and beginning of 22.
But Putin did roll across the border in the end.
Putin did roll across the border
Yes.
at the end. So why, if one time the escalation move on the next basically
So we're
step?
almost getting to like theological questions here. Do you think the West wants a nuclear war? I mean, is this an effort to commit suicide? Like, what is this?
I think it's just an ability to propose a scenario which basically Western leaders can explain and find a right balance with. Actually, it's a very difficult question. It is a very difficult question. Society, Western society, so much supportive of was so much basically done supportive to the cause which was promoted by the Western politicians till a certain moment. So, because it's so simplified narrative, like unprovoked aggression. Unprovoked aggression meaning exist aggressor. If exist aggressor, what you can do? You need to react on unprovoked aggression to punish. So how can you change this narrative? So this narrative, it's very difficult. If you're a politician who is dealing with this limitation, how to deal with this? That's very difficult. Sometimes it's easy just to follow inertia, just to do.
Sure. I mean, of course I understand that. And their prestige is at stake and no one wants to admit a mistake and no one wants to be seen as siding with Putin or being a disloyal American or Belgian or, Frenchman or whatever. The media control people by attacking them. But you would think that a nuclear exchange would be the moment where people would say, well, I don't care what you call me. We're not going to have a nuclear war because that would be the end of people. And I would do anything I could do to stop that, anything, including accept responsibility for dumb statements I made before, be embarrassed or being called names. I don't care. I'm going to try and stop nuclear war. I thought that was the red line for people, but it's not.
If American society understand the moment where we are,
I don't think they do. But you think we're at that moment?
I think that next level of escalation, it's very possible. After that, if you take it like effect, that next level of escalation, it's possible. What next level of escalation may be?
Well, that's all that's left. But again, it raises the theological question, like why did Europe decide to destroy itself in 1914? Why is the West once again on the brink of destroying itself? What is that? It doesn't seem rational at all.
I think it's pretty understandable. I believe in Western democratic system.
Yes, I do too.
In a certain moment, it's allowed to change the course. So leaders change. And then if some leaders follow some particular scenario, it's very difficult for them to change their opinion, to change the position which they took towards the population of their countries. But when democratic system make a change, then course of society may change also. So I think this problem will pass in one way and another. Problem is how fast this will pass. If some tragedy will not happen before. That's what we
So if the
worry
leader
about.
of the West, the American president, changed his view on this, then you think he could lead Europe to de-escalate?
I think we don't have choice, but we must de-escalate. Do I believe it's realistic? Honestly, dynamic looks like it's not very realistic right now. It's very difficult. So I don't know. Some miracle needed in such situation.
So your read as a non-American who's not allowed in the United States, but I know you follow this carefully. Do you think Trump is capable of stopping this trajectory of escalation?
I don't know.
Is there any other leader in the world who is?
I don't know. I think today, world in general have a problem with the leaders who can look not on the polarized way to say that is true or that is true, but people who can look a little bit more globally. I think we have a deficit of these people right now. So, and idea of this constant conflict, of these things which ruptured world on part, it's become very dangerous. It's become very dangerous. So I think that world need a moment for a little bit of cool down. And then probably the process will start. Remember what stopped the war in Vietnam, actually? I think it was only one way which stopped it. It was a slogan. Remember this? Hey, hey, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today?
Yes.
So I think that was probably one of the most important things which happened during this period of time. Because it's very simple. And that goes directly to your conscience. So you repeat something and suddenly you start to think, okay, maybe it's not about communism, capitalism, I don't know, detente or something else. Maybe just about something a little bit bigger. That it was what stopped the war at this time. What will stop war at this time, I don't know. But I don't believe somehow in the deals between politicians right now. I don't believe it somehow.
In Europe, you're in Europe, well, I guess you're not in Europe anymore, but do you think the rest of the world understands how close we are to nuclear war?
I don't know. I think it's like in this movie, Don't Look Up. Something happening, something coming closer, but so many other more interesting things